Every morning, millions of seniors across the world do the same thing. They wake up, they stretch, they get out of bed. It's automatic, it's routine, it's harmless, or so we think. But what if one of the most common morning habits is quietly increasing your risk of sudden death after 70? What if this simple action, the one you've done every day of your life, is now working against your body, not with it? Because here's the truth that most people don't know. After 70, your body changes silently, and the things that once felt normal can become dangerous. This video isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to wake you up, not just from sleep, but from habits that no longer serve your safety. Today on True Senior Wisdom, we'll uncover the silent biological shift that happens after age 70. A single morning habit linked to dizziness, fainting, heart failure, even death, and simple steps you can take tomorrow morning to protect yourself. This is not a dramatic collapse like in the movies. There's no scream, no warning, just a quiet fall, a gasp, a stillness that comes too soon. But it doesn't have to be this way. Your body has been whispering to you. And if you learn how to listen, you can stay alive longer, with more strength, more clarity, and more peace. Let's begin. Sign number 1, getting out of bed too quickly, the quiet morning habit that could steal your life after 70. He was gone before breakfast. That's how his daughter described it. Mr. Harold Jennings was 75. He had just returned from a routine checkup. Blood pressure, normal. Cholesterol, a bit high but manageable. No major heart disease. He was active. He smiled a lot. Loved gardening. That morning he woke up at 6:15 like always. His wife, Judith, was still half asleep. She heard the bed spring squeak as Harold sat up, swung his legs around, and stood up, just like he did every morning. But this time, there was a loud thud. By the time Judith reached the floor, Harold wasn't breathing. No warning, no pain, just gone. The cause. The cause, sudden cardiac arrest brought on by a rapid change in posture immediately after waking. Why this habit becomes so dangerous with age. When you're younger, your heart and blood vessels are strong, flexible, responsive. You can jump out of bed, run to the door, or even spin in circles without much trouble. But after 70, your systems slow down, quietly but significantly. Blood vessels lose elasticity. Baroreceptors, which regulate blood pressure, become less sensitive. The heart may have minor undiagnosed issues. Medications, especially for blood pressure, cholesterol, or anxiety, interfere with natural regulation. When you go from lying to standing, gravity pulls your blood toward your legs. Normally, your body compensates instantly, tightening blood vessels, speeding up heart rate, but in seniors, that compensation may lag. This means less oxygen to your brain, sudden drop in blood pressure, heart arrhythmia, or cerebral hypoxia, and sometimes it only takes 10 seconds. Orthostatic hypotension is the drop in blood pressure that occurs when moving from a lying to standing position, defined as a drop in systolic BP by 20 millimeter hergrams, or a drop in diastolic BP by 10 millimeter hergrams. This condition becomes more common with age. In fact, the Journal of the American Geriatric Society reports over 50% of adults over 75 experience some form of OHH. Most are unaware they have it. Many attribute the lightheadedness to getting old. But it's not just age. It's a sign, one that your brain, heart, and circulation are under stress. Let's break it down. While asleep, your blood pressure drops. This is natural and healthy. Your body is in repair mode. You wake up, your brain isn't fully alert, your nervous system's still slow. You sit up and stand quickly. Blood rushes down, away from your head. If your baroreflex is impaired, your body doesn't adjust in time. You feel dizzy or faint, or worse, your heart misfires. In some cases, this causes temporary unconsciousness, a dangerous fall, a minor stroke due to reduced brain perfusion, or fatal arrhythmia if the heart is weak. Even those without diagnosed heart disease can be vulnerable. You may be taking medications that unintentionally raise your risk of morning OH, beta blockers, alpha blockers, diuretics, water pills, antidepressants, Parkinson's medications, sleeping pills, or sedatives. These all interfere with blood pressure regulation or cause dehydration, both dangerous upon standing. A recent study at Johns Hopkins found that seniors on 2+ of these medications were 4.8 times more likely to experience serious morning hypotension episodes. Most people don't even realize what's happening. It starts with a slight wobble when standing, grabbing the wall or door frame just in case, a wave of warmth or nausea, tunneling vision, or seeing sparks, weak knees, feeling detached, almost as if your body is floating. Some dismiss it as just woke up too fast, maybe I didn't sleep well, must be dehydration. But brushing it off could be fatal. Let me give you a tool you can use tomorrow morning, one that's already saved many lives, the 3-3-30 rule. Lie still for 3 minutes after waking, let your brain orient. Blink slowly, breathe. Sit on the edge of the bed for 3 minutes. Let blood pressure rise gently. Roll your ankles, flex fingers, stand up slowly, and wait 30 seconds before walking. Let your body recalibrate. If you feel steady, then proceed. This is not a waste of time. It's an investment in your survival. Keep a glass of water by your bed. Dehydration is a major contributor to hypotension. Avoid caffeine immediately. It raises heart rate too quickly. Install grab bars near your bed, especially if you've fallen before. Use warm socks or slippers. Cold feet cause vascular constriction, worsening BP shifts. Tell your loved ones. Make it a shared habit. Wake slowly, together. Let's be honest, these experiences are frightening. I've had patients cry in my office, whispering, I thought I was dying. It was like my body gave out on me. I didn't tell anyone. I was ashamed. But let me say this clearly. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not burdened. Your body is asking for something sacred, a slower start, a gentler rhythm, and you have every right to give it that. Your morning is not just a beginning, it's a message. And if your body speaks in dizziness, it's not being dramatic, it's being wise. If you rush into the day, your heart may not keep up. But if you rise like the sun, slowly, gently, purposefully, you give your life the chance to shine longer. So tomorrow morning, when your eyes open, don't jump, don't run, don't dismiss. Instead, pause, sit, breathe, stand. Because staying alive sometimes begins with simply not standing up too fast. Sign number 2, drinking coffee immediately after waking. It's just my morning cup. That's what Mr. Daniels told me, a 78-year-old retired teacher. He'd wake up at 6, walk straight to the kitchen, and drink 2 large cups of hot black coffee before anything else. It was his routine, his comfort, his non-negotiable. Until one morning, he collapsed while buttoning his shirt. His wife found him unconscious, heart racing, hands trembling, eyes blank. He survived. Barely. At the hospital, his labs were clear. No heart attack, no stroke. But when I asked what he'd done that morning, just my coffee, he said. Same as every day. And that's what concerned me most. Why coffee first thing can be dangerous after 70. Coffee is not inherently harmful. In fact, in moderation, it offers many benefits: antioxidants, alertness, even lower risks of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. But timing matters, and drinking coffee immediately upon waking, especially on an empty stomach, can trigger a dangerous chain reaction in seniors. Here's what happens: you're still dehydrated after sleep, your blood is thicker. You drink coffee, which is a diuretic, pulling more water from your system. Coffee stimulates adrenaline and cortisol, raising blood pressure and heart rate. If you're on medication for blood pressure, anxiety, or heart rhythm, this surge can override your regulation. Your nervous system becomes hyperalert while your body is still in sleep mode. The result? Palpitations, sudden arrhythmia, chest discomfort, lightheadedness, and in some cases, stroke or cardiac event. Between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m., your body naturally experiences a cortisol spike. Cortisol is your wake-up hormone. It raises alertness, blood pressure, and blood sugar. If you add caffeine during that peak window, especially on an empty stomach, you create a hormonal overload. Your blood vessels constrict, heart rate spikes, glucose floods your system, adrenal glands become overstimulated. And if your cardiovascular system isn't as resilient as it once was, that peaceful morning coffee becomes a quiet threat. A 2023 review published in the Journal of Cardiovascular Aging found that seniors over 70 who drank coffee within 30 minutes of waking had a 28% higher risk of morning arrhythmias. Those who consumed it before eating were more likely to experience acid reflux, gastritis, or nausea. And in a subset of patients on beta blockers or diuretics, early caffeine increased fall risk due to dehydration-induced dizziness. Another study from the National Institute on Aging noted caffeine consumed immediately upon waking before rehydration was associated with greater autonomic instability in older adults. Translation? Your body may react too strongly, too fast, and you won't see it coming. Most seniors don't realize the danger because the signs feel familiar. A fluttering heartbeat, just nerves. Jitters or restlessness. I didn't sleep well. Upset stomach. Maybe I'm hungry. Slight dizziness. I got up too quick. Headache mid-morning. Just aging. But in reality, these are your body's early warning signs that your morning routine isn't working anymore. The truth, what once woke you up might now be wearing you down. If not right away, then when? The best time to drink coffee, especially after 70, is 60 to 90 minutes after waking, ideally, after hydrating with water, after eating a small breakfast, after sitting or gently moving for a while. This gives your hormones time to stabilize, digestive system something to buffer the acidity, heart a chance to wake up at its own pace. Here's what I tell all my patients. Wake up gently, don't rush. Drink 8 to 12 ounces of water first, room temp or warm. Sit up slowly, stretch, and breathe deeply. Eat a light breakfast, fruit, toast, oatmeal. Enjoy coffee after food. Not before. Sip slowly, not all at once. Avoid sugary creamers and high acid roasts. Sign number 3, skipping breakfast or delaying your first meal. I just wasn't hungry. That's what Mrs. Linda Mayfield, age 76, said when she was brought to the hospital after falling down the stairs. No stroke, no heart attack, no broken bones, just sudden dizziness, a loss of balance, and one familiar sentence, I hadn't eaten anything yet. I hadn't had breakfast. She thought it was no big deal. But after age 70, skipping a meal is no longer a small thing. In younger years, intermittent fasting or delaying breakfast may actually bring health benefits. But after 70, the equation changes dramatically. Your brain, your muscles, your metabolism, and your heart all require stable, timely energy to function properly. When you skip your first meal, blood sugar drops dangerously low. Your brain receives less glucose, it's only fuel. Your muscles begin breaking down amino acids for energy. Your heart works harder to stabilize the system. And the consequences? Lightheadedness, confusion, falls, irregular heartbeat, or even a TIA or stroke. After age 60, your brain's glucose metabolism declines. It becomes less efficient at using sugar. This means even mild dips in blood sugar can cause mental fog, memory lapses, or sudden disorientation. Your risk of vascular dementia increases with repeated glucose starvation. And skipping breakfast, especially when combined with caffeine or morning activity, magnifies this risk. A 2022 study in the Journal of Aging and Neuroscience showed that older adults who regularly delayed breakfast had a 37% higher rate of cognitive decline over 5 years compared to those who ate within 1 hour of waking. Fasting causes your sympathetic nervous system to activate, raising heart rate and blood pressure. This can be helpful for young, healthy people. But in seniors, especially those with arterial stiffness, arrhythmia, or on heart medication, this surge can lead to palpitations, chest pressure, atrial fibrillation episodes, increased stroke risk. A meta-analysis published in Cardiology in the Elderly found that senior patients who skipped breakfast were 2.4 times more likely to suffer cardiac incidents within 3 hours of waking. Many seniors say, I'm just not hungry in the morning. I'll eat later when I feel like it. But this lack of hunger is often a false signal due to slowed digestion, medication side effects, low-level dehydration, chronic undereating. It doesn't mean your body doesn't need food. It means your body has become used to running on empty, a dangerous adaptation. You wouldn't drive your car with no fuel. Don't do it to your brain. When should seniors eat in the morning? The ideal window is within 30 to 60 minutes after waking. Waiting longer increases cortisol surges, blood sugar drops, cardiac strain, mental fatigue. Best first meal options after 70. Keep it simple, soft, and stable. 1 to 2 slices of whole grain toast with nut butter, a banana or apple slices, a boiled egg, oatmeal with chia seeds, warm bone broth or porridge, herbal tea or warm water before food. Avoid sugary pastries, high-fat meats, black coffee on an empty stomach, skipping due to lack of time. You don't need a big meal. You just need enough to tell your brain, we're safe. You have fuel. What seniors say after changing this habit, I don't feel so shaky anymore. My mind is clearer. I didn't realize how weak I was until I started eating early again. And perhaps the most important, I feel like I'm starting my day with intention, not by accident. Breakfast is not just a meal. It's a message. It tells your body you're cared for. You're not forgotten. You have what you need to go on. When you feed your body first thing in the morning, you feed your chances of living longer. thinking clearer, and walking safer. So tomorrow morning, even if it's just a bite, even if you don't feel hungry, eat, breathe, begin again. Because skipping breakfast after 70 doesn't make you disciplined, it makes you vulnerable, and you deserve better than that. Sign number 4, taking a shower too early after waking. She just wanted to feel fresh. That's what her daughter whispered, tears in her eyes. Mrs. Elaine Carter, 79, had always been meticulous. She woke at 5:30 a.m. sharp, showered before sunrise, neatly dressed, pearls even for breakfast. But one morning, her daughter found her on the bathroom floor, collapsed, soaked, the shower still running. Cause of death? Sudden cardiac arrest triggered by temperature-induced blood pressure drop. Why morning showers can be dangerous for seniors. We think of showers as cleansing, comforting, even energizing, but for aging bodies, especially within the first hour after waking, they can be a dangerous shock to the system. Here's why. After sleep, your core body temperature is low, your blood vessels are relaxed, your blood pressure is still adjusting from lying to standing. A sudden blast of cold or hot water causes rapid vasoconstriction or vasodilation. That means your blood vessels tighten too fast. Heart races to compensate. Blood pressure spikes or crashes. Oxygen delivery to the brain is disrupted. The result? Sudden dizziness, loss of balance, fainting or falls, cardiac stress or arrhythmia, stroke or heart attack, even in those without prior disease. Let's say you wake up at 6 a.m., still groggy. You stand, walk, and head to the bathroom. You step into a cold or hot shower. What happens inside your body? The temperature change signals your hypothalamus. Your body tries to regulate internal heat by shifting blood to or from the skin. This sudden redistribution causes circulatory instability. If you're dehydrated or taking blood pressure meds, it amplifies the crash. In seconds, you may feel lightheaded, cold sweats, chest tightness, tunnel vision, loss of motor control. And if you fall in the shower where surfaces are hard, wet, and unforgiving, the injury risk is even higher. A 2021 study from the Gerontology Journal found that morning showers within 30 minutes of waking were linked to a 29% higher fall risk in adults over 70. The American Heart Association reports that abrupt exposure to cold water raises the risk of arrhythmia and sudden cardiac arrest in seniors, especially in winter. And in a 2022 analysis of 732 elderly patients, 12% of all in-home morning incidents occurred in the bathroom within 45 minutes of waking. You are at higher risk if you take blood pressure or heart medications, have a history of fainting or dizziness, have poor circulation or cold sensitivity, shower before drinking water or eating anything, stand too long in hot water causing blood pooling, shower alone without safety rails or chairs. Even healthy seniors are at risk because it's not about illness. It's about timing and thermal shock. Safer ways to shower after 70. You don't need to stop showering, but when and how you shower matters deeply. Before showering, drink a glass of warm water. Sit up in bed for 5 minutes before standing. Wait at least 45 to 60 minutes after waking. Eat a light snack or breakfast. Make sure the bathroom is warm, especially in cold weather. During shower, avoid sudden cold or hot blasts. Use lukewarm water. Sit on a shower bench or chair if balance is an issue. Install grab bars. Keep shower time under 10 minutes. After shower, dry yourself slowly while sitting. Rest before continuing activity. Avoid bending too much or standing suddenly. What seniors often say, but I've always showered first thing. It wakes me up. I don't feel right without it. I understand, but at 70 or 80, your body deserves a new kind of respect. Not fear, just awareness. You're not fragile. You're wiser now, and wise people listen to what their body whispers. You can feel fresh, awake, and confident in the morning, but you don't have to shock your heart to do it. Warm water doesn't just clean your skin. It should honor your age, respect your rhythm, and support your safety. So tomorrow morning, pause before the water, prepare before the steam. Let your shower be a moment of care, not a crisis waiting in silence. Because staying alive starts with listening to what your body can't say out loud. Sign number 5, ignoring morning dizziness or head rushes. The silent signal your brain might be starving for oxygen and what you must not dismiss. I just needed a moment. That's what Mr. Calvin, 82, told his son after nearly collapsing by the bathroom sink. He'd stood up, taken 2 steps, and suddenly felt like the room was spinning. He gripped the countertop, closed his eyes, and waited. 30 seconds later, the sensation passed, so he said nothing. But 2 days later, it happened again, this time with chest tightness. By the end of the week, he was in the ER with a mild stroke. Doctors believe he'd been having warning drops, brief moments where his brain wasn't getting enough oxygen. And each time he brushed it off, he got closer to the edge. Why dismissing dizziness is so dangerous after 70. Many seniors experience brief dizziness, lightheadedness, or that whoosh sensation when rising. Most assume it's nothing, just getting older. I probably moved too fast. But here's the truth. Dizziness is not just a symptom. It's your brain waving a flag. And if you ignore it, or worse, try to push through it, you increase your risk of falling fainting, hitting your head, suffering a mini stroke or full ischemic event, cardiac arrhythmia, sudden drop in blood pressure or brain perfusion. When you sleep, your blood pressure and heart rate drop to rest mode. But when you wake, and especially when you move too quickly, your body has to adjust. Blood shifts downward, gravity. Your brain briefly gets less oxygen. If your autonomic nervous system is slow to react, you feel off balance. Your inner ear and brain coordination becomes impaired. In a younger person, the body compensates fast. But in seniors, that brief pause might become a fall. That moment of spinning might be a sign of circulatory failure. According to the American Geriatric Society, over 40% of people over 75 report regular morning dizziness. Most don't tell their doctors. Dizziness is the #1 predictor of future falls in adults over 70. A 2022 study from the British Medical Journal found that seniors who ignored repeated dizziness had a 2.3 times higher risk of hospitalization within 12 months, mostly due to falls or cardiovascular events. Morning dizziness doesn't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it's a wave of lightheadedness when standing, a feeling of not being steady, a momentary blackout in vision, pressure behind the eyes, a strange heaviness in the head, needing to grab something to stabilize. These little episodes often go unspoken, out of pride, fear, or thinking it's normal. But it's not just getting up too fast. It's your brain telling you it's not receiving enough blood. Common causes of morning dizziness in seniors: orthostatic hypotension, sudden BP drop when standing, dehydration, blood sugar crash, especially after skipping breakfast, vestibular dysfunction, inner ear balance issues, medication side effects, especially BP meds, diuretics, sedatives, silent arrhythmias, mini strokes. What you can do about it: morning stabilization routine. Lie in bed for 2 to 3 minutes after waking. Sit up and dangle your legs over the edge for another 2 to 3 minutes. Wiggle your feet and flex your hands. Stand slowly while holding something stable. Breathe deeply in through nose, out through mouth. Only walk when you feel fully balanced. Hydrate and fuel. Drink warm water before standing. Have a light bite: toast, banana, yogurt. Avoid caffeine until after hydration. Seek medical help if dizziness lasts more than a minute. It comes with chest pain or blurred vision. You experience it multiple times a week. It happens even when seated or lying down. Ask your doctor about blood pressure variability testing, medication reviews, ECG or Holter monitor for hidden arrhythmia, neurological screening. What many seniors don't say is this: I'm afraid of falling, but I don't want anyone to know. I hate feeling vulnerable. If I tell them, they'll think I can't live alone. But staying silent doesn't make you stronger. It just makes you more at risk. Your dignity doesn't come from hiding symptoms. It comes from honoring the signs your body gives you and responding with wisdom. You've spent your life showing up for others. Now it's time to show up for yourself. Not by pushing through dizziness, but by pausing when needed, by slowing when necessary, by trusting your body's early whispers. The rush can wait. The world can wait. But your life, your balance, your breath deserves to move at your pace now. So tomorrow morning, don't rise in fear. Rise in awareness. And remember, it's not just about standing upright. It's about standing present, standing safe, and standing alive. Sign number 6, holding urine too long after waking, the morning habit that quietly overloads your heart and may trigger a stroke. I'll go in a minute. That's what Mr. Fred Walters told himself one morning. He had just woken up. The house was cold, his knees stiff, and he didn't feel like getting out of bed just yet. So he lay there, scrolling through his phone, waiting, even though his bladder was full. 10 minutes passed, then 20. Then his chest tightened. He tried to sit up, but his body wouldn't move. By the time help arrived, he had suffered a mild stroke, likely triggered by an abrupt spike in blood pressure. The cause, a dangerously full bladder. Why holding your urine is more dangerous than you think after age 70. For younger adults, delaying a bathroom trip is often harmless. But as we age, that same habit can put tremendous strain on your nervous system, blood vessels, and heart. Here's what happens when you hold your urine after waking. The bladder stretches beyond capacity. Your body triggers a fight or flight response. This increases sympathetic nervous activity, raising your blood pressure and heart rate. In seniors with stiff arteries or weak hearts, this can lead to arrhythmias, ischemic events, mini strokes, or even heart failure. The bladder is more than just a holding tank. It's wired directly to the autonomic nervous system. When it becomes overfull, especially after hours of overnight accumulation, it sends urgent signals to the brain and heart. We're in danger. Act now. The heart responds by pumping faster, raising pressure to prepare for action, releasing adrenaline. If your blood vessels are already narrowed or your heart is compromised, this sudden demand can cause cerebral blood pressure spikes, blood vessel rupture or clot formation, neurological misfiring. In plain terms, your bladder can trip your brain's circuit breaker. A 2021 study in urology and aging found that older adults who regularly delayed urination after waking had 35% higher risk of early morning hypertensive events. In males with enlarged prostates, holding urine led to more cardiac irregularities and fainting spells. A full bladder could raise systolic blood pressure by up to 40 millimeter grams, enough to trigger stroke in high-risk seniors. Even more alarming, 70% of patients over 75 admitted with morning strokes had not urinated within 30 minutes of waking. Sometimes it's obvious, a painful urge, but often it's subtle, a sense of pressure in the abdomen, mild nausea, restlessness or discomfort, heart palpitations, feeling tense or uneasy without knowing why. These are all early warning signs that your bladder is pushing your body beyond safe limits. How to protect yourself. Morning bladder routine for seniors. Use the toilet within 5 to 10 minutes of waking. Avoid holding it while stretching, reading, or checking phone. If you have joint pain, install bedside support rails or portable urinals. Drink a warm glass of water after urinating, not before. Avoid delaying, even if the urge seems mild. It often worsens quickly. Extra considerations for high-risk groups. If you have high blood pressure, enlarged prostate, men, stroke history, Parkinson's or MS, urinary retention issues, then this sign is twice as important. Talk to your doctor about bladder scans, timing medications to reduce nighttime urine, pelvic floor therapy, safer bathroom setups. Many seniors hold their urine because I don't want to disturb others. It's too cold to get up. I'll just wait until after coffee. I don't feel the urgency yet. But comfort should never come at the cost of circulation and oxygen delivery. You wouldn't ignore a fire alarm. Don't ignore your body's early warnings. You've been taught to endure, to hold things in, to wait until it's convenient. But at this stage of life, releasing what no longer serves you is not just about emotion, it's about survival. So tomorrow morning, don't delay, don't dismiss, don't push through discomfort. Honor the urge, honor your body's rhythm, and honor your right to stay alive in comfort, safety, and strength. Let go to stay strong. Every morning is an opportunity, not just to wake up, but to choose to live. What you do in the first 30 minutes after opening your eyes may seem small, but it becomes the blueprint for your day and for the rest of your life. Maybe you've gotten out of bed too fast, drunk coffee before water, skipped breakfast, showered before your body was ready, felt dizzy but kept walking, held your bladder because you didn't want to bother anyone. You are not alone, and you are not wrong. You simply weren't told. After 70, your body doesn't need speed, it needs your attention. The signs you once ignored weren't failures, they were nudges, whispers, gentle taps. And if you are brave enough to listen, you will gain not just health, but peace. A version of aging that's not marked by fear of falling, but by the quiet confidence of someone who knows how to care for themselves. Remember, slowing down is not weakness. Eating breakfast early is not giving in. It's giving your body a fighting chance. Relieving yourself isn't inconvenient. It might just save your life. You don't need a perfect morning. You just need a morning where you listen, love, and begin again, no matter your age, if this video helped you. Ah, like the video to support more seniors like you. Share this with a parent, a grandparent, or a friend. Comment below which sign spoke to you most today. Subscribe to True Senior Wisdom, where every choice, every breath, every life after 60 is honored and protected. And one last thing, you are not behind. You are not broken. You are not alone. Your body is not punishing you, it's protecting you. Your age is not your weakness, it's your wisdom. And your mornings are not your enemy, they are your invitation to live longer, stronger, and softer than you ever thought possible. Stay gentle, stay aware, stay alive.